You think your wheelchair excuses breaking the law?
No. It demands the law protect me.
Objection, Your Honor.
This is discrimination, not prosecution.
The phone rang at 3:12 a.m., jarring me awake in my Georgetown townhouse. As the U.S. Attorney General, I was no stranger to late-night crises, terrorism alerts, legal emergencies, or political firestorms. But this call wasn't about national security. It was about my daughter, Lily. Her voice trembled through the line, barely holding back sobs. Dad, I'm in jail. They arrested me tonight. The HOA president, Mrs. Caldwell, says I attacked the gatehouse with my wheelchair. They're talking about 10 years in prison. My heart stopped. Lily, my 24-year-old daughter with muscular dystrophy, in jail? The idea was unthinkable. Mrs. Evelyn Caldwell, the HOA president of Pinewood Estates, had no idea who she was dealing with. She was about to learn. Lily had always been a fighter. Born with muscular dystrophy, she relied on a motorized wheelchair and had some trouble with fine motor skills, but her mind was razor-sharp. She was pursuing a master's degree in public health at George Washington University, determined to make a difference for underserved communities. When she moved into Pinewood Estates, a gated community in suburban Virginia, she was thrilled to have her own Placia modest one-bedroom apartment she'd saved for with part-time work and student loans. Independence meant everything to her. But from the moment she arrived, Evelyn Caldwell made her life a living hell. It started 3 months ago. Lily told me about the complaints. Her wheelchair ramp was an eyesore. Her designated accessible parking spot took up too much space. Even the faint hum of her wheelchair motor was disruptive. Evelyn, a woman in her late 50s with a penchant for control, seemed to take Lily's presence as a personal affront. She acts like I don't belong here, Dad, Lily said once over dinner, her voice heavy with frustration. Like I'm some kind of burden on her perfect community. That night, as I sped toward the Fairfax County Jail, my driver weaving through the quiet streets, I called Lily's attorney, Sarah Bennett. Mr. Attorney General, this is bad, Sarah said, her tone grim. Mrs. Caldwell claims Lily threatened her with bodily harm and deliberately damaged the community gatehouse. She's got witness statements and says there's security footage. The local DA is pushing for the maximum penalty 10 years for aggravated assault and property destruction. I gripped the phone, my mind racing. Lily? Violent. The girl who wouldn't swat a mosquito? It was absurd. At the jail, I found Lily in a holding cell, still in her navy sweater and jeans from class. Her face was blotchy from crying, her wheelchair looking out of place in the stark, fluorescent-lit room. Dad? She whispered, reaching for me through the bars. I'm so scared. I took her hand, forcing myself to stay calm despite the fury boiling inside. Tell me everything, sweetheart. Every single detail. Lily's story came out in halting, tearful bursts. She'd been coming home from an evening seminar around 9 p.m., using the accessible entrance at the Pinewood Estates gatehouse, the only entrance without steps. Evelyn Caldwell was there, waiting like a hawk. She started yelling the second I rolled up, Lily said. She said the accessible gate was for daytime use only, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. I told her that's not how accessibility laws work. I even pulled up the Americans with Disabilities Act on my phone to show her, but she got angrier. She said I was entitled and that disabled people shouldn't expect special privileges. My blood pressure spiked. What happened next? I asked. She stood right in front of my wheelchair, blocking the path, Lily continued. I couldn't get through. I asked her to move, politely at first, but she refused. She told me to use the main entrance instead. The main entrance, of course, had a steep set of stairs completely unusable for Lily. I tried to explain that, but she said it wasn't her problem. She said, if you want to live in a normal community, follow normal rules. I felt sick. The cruelty was staggering. So how did this turn into an arrest? I tried to go around her, Lily said, wiping her eyes. I moved slowly, but the gate sensor arm got caught on my wheel. The gatehouse is this rickety old thing, and it shook a little when I tried to free my chair. Evelyn started screaming that I was attacking the gatehouse on purpose. She said I threatened her, but Dad, I didn't. All I said was, please let me go home. You don't want to make this a bigger issue. I meant legally like, I'd file a complaint. But she told the police I was threatening violence. The pieces were falling into place, and they painted an ugly picture. Evelyn Caldwell had harassed my disabled daughter, blocked her access to her own home, then spun a lie to make her look like a criminal. Lily, I said, squeezing her hand, we're going to fight this. This is discrimination, plain and simple, and it's illegal. But even as I said it, I knew the road ahead was treacherous. The local prosecutor was gunning for a conviction, and the charges were serious. The next morning, I met with Sarah Bennett to strategize. She'd reviewed the police report and the DA's evidence. It's a mess, sir, she said. Caldwell has 3 neighbors claiming they saw Lily aggressively approach the gatehouse and intentionally damage it. The prosecutor, David Harper, is framing this as a case of someone exploiting their disability to break rules. He's pushing a narrative of disability fraud. Disability fraud? I repeated, incredulous. Lily's been in a wheelchair her whole life. She's never manipulated anything. I know, Sarah said. But we're up against deep bias here. Caldwell's painting herself as a victim, saying Lily uses her wheelchair to get away with defiance. Harper's eating it up. This wasn't just about Lily anymore. It was about how society treats disabled people when they dare to demand their rights. I wanted to use my position to crush this case, but I knew that could backfire. If it looked like I was pulling strings to protect my daughter, it could tank her defense and my career. Instead, I decided to attend the preliminary hearing as her father, not the Attorney General. The courtroom in Fairfax was packed the following week. News of the case had spread like wildfire, splitting the community. Some rallied behind Lily, calling the charges blatant discrimination. Others backed Evelyn Caldwell, insisting that rules are rules and disabled residents shouldn't get special treatment. The tension was palpable as Evelyn took the stand, her gray hair swept into a tight bun, her navy blazer crisp and professional. She exuded the confidence of someone who always got her way. Your Honor, she began, I've been president of the Pinewood Estates HOA for 10 years. We pride ourselves on maintaining a pristine community, and our property values reflect that. On the night of the incident, I was conducting a routine security check when I saw MS. Harper approaching the accessible gate after hours. Our policy clearly states it's for daytime use only, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. The prosecutor, David Harper, no relation to Lily, nodded encouragingly. Did you inform MS Harper of this rule? I did, Evelyn said. I politely explained she needed to use the main entrance, like everyone else. She became hostile, waving her phone at me, claiming federal laws let her ignore our rules. When I stood my ground, she threatened me. What did she say? Harper asked. Evelyn looked straight at Lily, her eyes icy. She said, you don't want to make this a bigger issue. It was a clear threat. Then she rammed her wheelchair into the gatehouse, causing visible damage. It was retaliation. Harper presented photos of the gatehouse, a minor crack in one wooden post. To hear Evelyn tell it, Lily had nearly torn the structure down. When Sarah Bennett stood for cross-examination, her voice was steady but sharp. Mrs. Caldwell, you claim the accessible gate has time restrictions. Can you show me where that's written in the HOA bylaws? Evelyn shifted in her seat. It's an understood policy. Understood by whom? Sarah pressed. Was MS Harper ever given a copy of this policy? All residents know our standards, Evelyn said, dodging. That's not what I asked. Is there any written rule stating the accessible gate is restricted to certain hours? Well, no, but are you aware that federal law, specifically the ADA, requires accessible entrances to be available at all times? Evelyn's face tightened. Our community standards take precedence over federal suggestions. Sarah paused, letting the absurdity hang in the air. Did you just say HOA rules supersede federal law? I said we have standards, Evelyn snapped. Standards that discriminate against disabled residents? The prosecutor objected, but the judge allowed the question. Evelyn's composure was cracking. Sarah continued. You claim MS Harper threatened you. Isn't it true she was simply asserting her legal right to access her home? She was aggressive and disrespectful, Evelyn said, her voice rising. Disrespectful how? By explaining her rights when you blocked her path. Evelyn's face flushed. She thinks her wheelchair gives her the right to ignore rules everyone else follows. So you believe disabled people should follow the same rules as everyone else, even if those rules make their lives impossible? I believe in equal treatment, Evelyn said, stumbling. Everyone should be treated the same. Sarah's point landed hard. Evelyn couldn't grasp the difference between equal treatment and equitable access. When Lily took the stand, the contrast was stark. Her voice was soft but clear, her hands trembling slightly as she spoke. "I wasn't trying to cause trouble," she said. "I just wanted to go home. I'd had a long day at school, and I had a paper due." Mrs. Caldwell blocked my path and wouldn't move, even when I explained I couldn't use the main entrance because of the stairs. The judge leaned forward. "Describe your interactions with Mrs. Caldwell since moving to Pinewood Estates." Lily swallowed hard. "She's complained about everything: me ramp, my parking spot, even the sound my wheelchair makes. It's like she wants me gone." That night, I tried to be polite, but she wouldn't listen. When my wheel got caught on the gate, it was an accident. I apologized right away, but she started yelling that I was attacking the gatehouse. I never threatened her. I said, "You don't want to make this a bigger issue," meaning I might have to file a discrimination complaint. I was trying to avoid a fight. The courtroom was silent, many visibly moved by Lily's sincerity. But the case took a dramatic turn when Evelyn's lawyer called a surprise witness, DA David Harper himself. "Your Honor," the defense attorney said, "I'd like to call District Attorney Harper to explain why this case warrants severe penalties." Harper strode to the stand, exuding confidence. A wiry man in his 40s, he'd built his reputation on high-profile convictions. "Your Honor," he began, "this case is about a growing problem. People using disability claims to evade responsibility. Ms. Harper may have a physical condition, but that doesn't give her the right to threaten community leaders or destroy property. A lenient sentence would tell every disabled person they can break the law and cry discrimination to avoid consequences." I felt my stomach churn. Harper was using Lily's case to score political points, painting her as a manipulative criminal. The judge frowned. "Mr. Harper, are you suggesting disability rights are somehow fraudulent?" "I'm saying some people exploit disability claims for special treatment," Harper replied smoothly. That was the breaking point. I stood, my voice steady but laced with authority. "Your Honor, I am James Thornton, United States Attorney General and Lily Harper's father." The courtroom erupted in gasps. Evelyn Caldwell's face drained of color. Harper looked like he'd been slapped. I've listened to these proceedings with growing disgust. This isn't justice, it's the persecution of a disabled young woman for daring to access her own home. The judge banged his gavel. "Mr. Thornton, you cannot address the court without. I'm speaking as a father, Your Honor, not as Attorney General. Mrs. Caldwell, you've harassed my daughter since she moved into your community. You've blocked her access, mocked her disability, and fabricated charges to punish her for existing. This is disability discrimination, and it's illegal." Evelyn stammered. "I was just enforcing community rules. I didn't know who she was." "It shouldn't matter who she is," I shot back. "Every disabled person deserves respect and access. But since you care about status, let me clarify who I am." I pulled out my phone and called my deputy, Claire. "Claire, contact the Civil Rights Division. I want a full investigation into disability discrimination at Pinewood Estates. Also, get the FBI to look into any federal violations here." Evelyn's eyes widened in panic. Harper tried to intervene. "Sir, with all due respect, we were just..." "Just what?" I cut him off. "Building your career by prosecuting disabled people? Using my daughter as a pawn to look tough on crime?" I turned to the judge. "Your Honor, I request that all charges against my daughter be dropped. This prosecution is rooted in discrimination and violates her civil rights." The judge fixed Harper with a stern look. "Mr. Harper, in light of this, how do you proceed?" Harper was sweating. "Perhaps we should reconsider the charges, Your Honor." "Perhaps you should," the judge said dryly. "I'm dismissing all charges against Ms. Harper immediately. Furthermore, I'm ordering a review of this prosecution for potential ethical violations." Evelyn stood, desperate. "This isn't fair. She can't just use her father's position to escape justice." I walked to her, my voice low but firm. "Lily didn't use my position, Mrs. Caldwell. You created this mess with your bigotry. If you treated her with basic decency, we wouldn't be here. Your rules violate federal law. Your harassment violates federal law. I suggest you find a very good lawyer." In the weeks that followed, the Department of Justice uncovered a pattern of discrimination at Pinewood Estates. Evelyn had targeted multiple disabled residents, pressuring them to leave through relentless complaints and baseless fines. The DOJ filed a federal lawsuit against the HOA and Evelyn personally, forcing the community to pay substantial damages and overhaul its policies to comply with accessibility laws. Evelyn was ousted as HOA president and faced personal financial liability. Several residents came forward with their own stories of her cruelty, revealing her as a bully who preyed on anyone she deemed undesirable. DA Harper didn't escape unscathed. The state bar investigated his handling of Lily's case and censured him for promoting discriminatory policies. His reputation took a hit, and he quietly stepped back from public cases. Evelyn, humiliated, left Pinewood Estates to live with family in North Carolina. Word is she's kept a low profile since. Lily, though, came out stronger. A month after the charges were dropped, we sat in her apartment, sunlight streaming through the windows. "Dad," she said, "Evelyn was right about one thing. I do expect special treatment as a human being with rights. If that's special, then maybe the problem isn't with me. Maybe it's with a world that makes basic dignity feel like a privilege." Her words hit hard. Lily's case became a touchstone for disability rights. The DOJ used it to set precedents for housing discrimination cases, and Lily was invited to speak at national conferences. She graduated with honors and now works for the CDC, focusing on health equity for marginalized groups. She still lives in Pinewood Estates, where the new HOA board ensures accessibility and respect for all residents. The real victory wasn't my influence as Attorney General. It was Lily's courage. She could have backed down, moved away, or stayed silent. Instead, she stood her ground, exposing a system of prejudice that had gone unchecked for too long. Her fight wasn't just for herself, it was for every disabled person who's been told they don't belong. Sometimes, the strongest people are the ones the world underestimates. And sometimes, those people change everything.